Well, it is time for the Week 7 recap for the UFL season, and we're starting it quick. We have the DC Defenders and the San Antonio Brahmas game that happened first this week, with the DC Defenders winning 32 to 24 in a pretty good game actually. I cannot be mad at it at all. We had Jordan Teamu complete 19 passes out of 24 attempts, 278 yards, and 3 touchdowns, which is pretty good in the UFL. A lot of times, guys do not get over 100 yards. No, over 150, I should say. And a new guy that I haven't seen the name of, Mike Delay, Mike DeLeo, Mike DeLeo. I don't know, but he completed one pass out of one attempt for 11 yards. We also had Deion Jackson complete um, attempt 10 rushes. He had 45 yards and a touchdown. Abram Smith attempted 2 rushes for 13 yards. Jordan Teamu had 5 rushes for 8 yards. Mike DeLeo had 2 rushing attempts for 3 yards. And Darius Higgins had 1 rushing attempt for 1 yard. Then for the wide receivers, we had Braylon Sanders complete 1 reception. Why do I keep on saying complete? Uh, Braylon Sanders had one complete. I guess today's gonna be one of those types of days. But Braylon Sanders, 1 reception, 76 yards and a touchdown. Briley Moore McKinney, 5 receptions, 71 yards. Cornell Powell, 5 receptions, 70 yards and a touchdown. Jaden Mickens had 3 receptions, 22 yards. Abram Smith and Javon Antonio both had 1 reception for 12 yards. Ben Breshinham, that's a weird name, 1 reception for 10 yards. Chris Rowland, 1 reception for 7 yards. Deion Jackson, 1 reception for 5 yards. And Gunnar Britton for 1 reception, 4 yards, and a touchdown. And for the Brahmas side of things, we had Kevin Hogan complete 20 passes out of 31 attempts, 230 yards, 2 touchdowns. We also had Jashawn Corbin, 9 complete. Again, with the completions, Jesus Christ, I need to stop with that. Jashawn Corbin with 9 attempts at rushing for 109 yards and a touchdown. Kevin Hogan with 5 attempts at rushing for 32 yards. Aiden Robbins with 9 attempts at rushing for 13 yards. And Marquez Stevenson with 1 attempt at rushing for -4 yards. John Trey Kirkland had 7 receptions for 52 yards. Steven Stellanos had 5 receptions, 46 yards, and a touchdown. Marquez Stevenson had 2 receptions, 42 yards. Jashawn Corbin had 1 reception for 32 yards. Justin Smith had 2 receptions for 32 yards. Elise Mack, I'm not too sure, had 2 receptions, 16 yards, and a touchdown. Rashawn Henry had 1 reception for 10 yards. And that is it for the for that game. No interceptions, which is actually pretty surprising. Usually with at least my team being there, there's always a interception. So kind of happy there wasn't one there. And then we had the Michigan Panthers versus the Arlington Renegades, where the Panthers won 25 to 24. And honestly, thought this week was going to be a weird one with 3 teams having points at 24 but not getting it. But the Roughnecks, they got 25 in their game against the Stallions. So, yeah, I'll be talking about that game next, actually. But anyway, Bryce Perkins had 15 completions out of 28 attempts, 231 yards, and a touchdown. Bryce Perkins also had 8 attempts at rushing for 60 yards and a touchdown. Toa Taua had 10 attempts at rushing for 31 yards and a touchdown. And Nate McCrary had 5 attempts at rushing for 13 yards. Uh, Sayosi Mariner had 5 receptions, 86 yards. Malik Turner had 4 receptions, 49 yards, and a touchdown. Toa Taua had 2 receptions, 36 yards. Jalen Moore had 2 receptions, 31 yards. Gunnar Oaks had 2 receptions, 29 yards. And really, that's about it. Nate McCrary, Cole Hikutini, and Samson Nakua all had targets, but they didn't catch the ball or anything. And then we had Luis Perez complete 25 passes out of 34 attempts, 314 yards, and 2 touchdowns. Day Day Hunter had 18 attempts at rushing for 35 yards, which is absolutely horrible. Holton Ahlers, or Ahlers, I'm not too sure, 1 attempt at rushing for 4 yards. Luis Perez, 1 attempt for 2 yards. Uh, Devian Smith, 2 attempts for -4 yards. And Tyler Vaughns with 1 attempt for -5. So their rushing game was not great at all. On the other hand, they almost had 2 100-plus yard receivers. But they had Tyler Vaughn's 9 receptions, 127 yards, and a touchdown. Sal Cannella had 6 receptions for 92 yards and a touchdown. He was only 8 yards away from being that second 100-yard receiver. Deontay Burnett, 4 receptions, 45 yards. Day Day Hunter, 4 receptions, 39 yards. Isaiah Winstead, 1 reception, 8 yards. And Javonta Payton, 1 reception for 3 yards. And this game, holy shit, it was so close, but man, it was so good. Then we had the Birmingham Stallions and the Houston Roughnecks go at it, with the Stallions win that one 33-25. Another very, very good game here. We had Jalen McClendon complete 15 passes out of 23 attempts, 167 yards, and a touchdown. Zaquandre White had 9 attempts at rushing for 69 yards and 2 touchdowns. Very nice. Lorenzo Lingard had 3 attempts at rushing for 18 yards, and Jalen McClendon had 4 attempts at rushing for 8 yards. We had Lawrence Keys III with 4 receptions, 65 yards. Emmanuel Butler, 1 reception, 31 yards. Justin Hall, 4 receptions, 24 yards. Josh Peterson, 1 reception, 14 yards. Kiki Chisholm had 2 receptions, 14 yards, and a touchdown. Cyril Grayson had 1 reception, 11 yards. And Zaquandre White had 2 receptions, 8 yards. And for the Stallions side of things, we had Case Cookus with 17 completions out of 34 attempts, 199 yards, a touchdown, and an interception. Jamar Smith had 3 attempts at passing, completed. No, he had 5 attempts at passing, completed 3 of them for 63 yards. Ricky Person Jr. had 13 attempts at rushing for 60 yards and a touchdown. CJ Marable had 10 attempts at rushing for 44 yards and a touchdown. Case Cookus had 4 attempts at rushing for 36 yards. Jamar Smith had 4 attempts at rushing for 9 yards and a touchdown. And Davian Davis had 1 attempt at rushing for -7 yards. Jace Sternberger had 4 receptions, 74 yards, and a touchdown. Sorry about that little mistake. Deon Kane had 5 receptions for 63 yards. Marlon Williams had 1 reception for 45 yards. Ricky Person Jr. had 3 receptions, 23 yards. Jordan Thomas had 1 reception, 22 yards. Jalen Camp had 2 receptions, 18 yards. Davian Davis had 2 receptions, 10 yards. Amari Rogers had 1 reception, 4 yards. And CJ Marable had 1 reception for 3 yards. And I'm actually going to get the guy that got the interception for the Roughnecks. Who was it that got it? Damon Arnett literally had 1 interception and 2 breakups. So that was him. And last but not least, we had the Showboats and the Battlehawks go at it, with the Battlehawks winning 19-9 in this pretty decent game. We had Max Duggan, 15 completions out of 23 attempts. 15 completions out of 23 attempts, 158 yards, a touchdown, and a interception. Max Duggan also had 10 attempts at rushing for 57 yards and a touchdown. Jacob Sailors had 11 attempts at rushing for 36 yards, and Jarvian Howard had 4 attempts at rushing for 20 yards. Gary Jennings Jr. had 3 rushing attempts, 3 receptions for 61 yards. Frank Darby had 2 receptions for 37 yards. Jacob Sailors had 2 receptions, 25 yards. Blake Jackson had 2 receptions, 9 yards. Jake Sutherland had 1 reception, 8 yards. Hakeem Butler and Jarvian Howard both had 1 reception for 6 yards. And Jacor Pearson had 3 receptions, 6 yards, and a touchdown. And Dresser Wynn had 21 completions out of 35 attempts for 196 yards and a touchdown. Deneric Prince had 17 attempts at rushing for 44 yards. Wes Hills had 7 attempts at rushing for 28 yards. Jonathan Adams had 1 attempt at rushing for 9 yards. And Dresser Wynn had 3 attempts at rushing for 8 yards. Jonathan Adams had 4 receptions, 69 yards, and a touchdown. Nice. Get 2 nices in a video. That's good. Kai Loxley had 3 receptions, 60 yards. Elijah Stove had 2 receptions, 26 yards. Isaiah Washington had 2 receptions, 15 yards. Deneric Prince had 6 receptions for 14 yards. Chris Pierce Jr. had 1 reception, 11 yards. Wes Hills had 2 receptions, 7 yards. And last but not least, we had Alec Lindstrom with 1 reception, -6 yards. And for that guy that got the interception, we had Kyrie Woods with 2 total tackles, with the 2 total tackles being solo tackles, a interception, and a breakup. So pretty good there. And this is the end of this video. So I hope you guys like, subscribe, comment, do really whatever you want to do. Check back on Wednesday when I do my predictions video for this. I might try to break down the games a little bit more. I know someone in the comments said I should, but I will definitely try my best. But anyway, hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you all in the next one. See you around.